Perfect. All right, now we'll officially begin. Um, Welcome everyone to this Northwest NWACUHO webinar. My name is Megan Lockwood. I'm the Northwest NWACUHO Communications Director. In my day job, I'm an executive assistant and project manager at Oregon State University. Today, for our webinar, we will be hearing from Dominic von Feldt, a resident director at Oregon State University. Go Bees. Dominic presented this program titled Institutional Transition, Career Moves Between Institutional Types at the 2025 annual conference and has graciously agreed to present it again for us here in case others were not able to see it. And I'm going to let Dominic introduce themselves a little bit more in their presentation in detail. So Dominic, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Like Megan was saying, my name is Dominic von Feldt, he, him, his. I am a resident director here at Oregon State University, and I'm going to be presenting on institutional transitions, career moves between institutional types. I also want to shout out my co-creator of this presentation who presented with me at the last conference, Travis Smith, who is works on the conference side of the house here at Oregon State University, so he's very busy this season and could not make it to this presentation. I have also had to learn his part a little bit last minute, so bear with me while I get through the parts of this that he had memorized that I did not. So yeah, I think just like a little bit of the background and context on this presentation is that Travis and I had both shifted our careers from smaller public universities to a larger public university. And we had some similarities in our experiences with that transition. And so we wanted to see if other folks had similar or different experiences moving between institutional types. We will get into it a little bit later, but we published a poll and some of the results are in this presentation. But I can get started here. We're going to be doing just a quick introduction of myself again, learning objectives, defining university demographics, benefits of institutional transition or shifting your career, institutional transition poll that we had pushed out, some of the challenges of transitions, and tools for success in combating those challenges, and with a little bit of time for questions at the end. So first, a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Dominic von Feldt, he, him, his. I'm a resident director here at Oregon State University. Before that, I spent a few years at Southern Oregon University, a small public university on the border of California. And then before that, I did grad school at St. Louis University, a medium private Catholic university, where I also worked in housing. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about defining institutional types, understanding what challenges professionals face when transitioning between institutional types, and some of the tools they used for success. First of all, when we're talking about the size of a university, we're referring to the student population. Size is an important factor related to institutional structures, complexities, culture, finances, and some other factors. This can affect the campus characteristics, environment, the populations of students served, and the mix of programs and services that that institution provides. Generally speaking, small universities are fewer than around 3,000 students. Mediums we count as 3 to 10,000 students, and larges are over 10,000 students. Some other university demographics we want to go over are the differences between public and private. Public are usually funded by state and federal government, or the bulk of their funds are from state and federal government. Private are financed by tuition fees, private donations, philanthropy, endowments, and research funds. A little bit of a caveat is that these different funding types can include both. So private university can have some federal and state funded, and publics can be funded in different ways. The bulk of the difference is state accountability and what that university is responding to in terms of governing body. Liberal arts colleges, universities that offer four-year degree programs in liberal arts disciplines like humanities, social sciences, and some sciences. And community colleges are public, generally two-year schools that offer certificates and associate degrees, although with the caveat that some community colleges will offer more advanced 4 years and bachelor's degrees. Few other demographics to go over are Hispanic serving institutions, so colleges and universities where Hispanic students make up at least 25% of the full-time student body. HSIs represent more than 500 colleges and universities within the United States. Similarly, historically black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, are institutions of higher education with a public intention of primarily serving black and African Americans. These can be private and public. We have tribal colleges and universities, TCUs, mostly public institutions of higher education that are chartered by federally recognized Indian tribes or federal governments, with majority Native American or Native Alaskan students. So the benefits of transferring or transitioning your career from different institutional types, people will move between roles and move between institutional types for new professional opportunities and advancements, changes in locations. It can provide an opportunity to explore different career paths. You can seek new challenges or get a fresh start. I know in talking with some of my colleagues, we fit or checked a couple of these boxes off while we were looking at career changes. So, as I had kind of prefaced at the beginning, myself and my, I guess, research partner here, we were talking about our experiences transitioning between different institutional types. We wanted to see if other people working in housing had experienced some similar or different things than us. So we devised a three-question poll that focused on institutional transition. Um, we didn't collect any private information in this poll, so no, we didn't collect email addresses, we didn't collect names, we didn't collect specific university details. So these responses remained completely anonymous. We shared this throughout the Oregon State University network, as well as posting it on a few different university housing themed Facebook groups. The goal of this poll was to gather experiences and identify trends in those experiences. The questions that we had specifically were, have you transitioned professionally between universities of different sizes or types? If so, describe them. And then we gave the examples of small to large, private to public. Our second question was, what are some of the challenges you faced when transitioning universities? And our third question was, what tools, methods, or connections helped you navigate these challenges? So some of the challenges that we found we were able to break into like major themes among the trends of challenges that people listed. I think we had 11 to 13 responses. I would need to go pull that data again. It's been a minute. But system and policy adaptation was the predominant thing that people struggled with. So learning new systems, dealing with unfamiliar policies, and kind of navigating the red tape between different universities because that can look different. Public institutions often have more bureaucracy compared to private ones, generally have more limitations on how they need to navigate their funding. So smaller private schools face challenges related to limited resources and rigid traditions. Um, People also found challenges with cultural adjustments, so understanding a new institution's traditions and practices, sometimes they could be restricted or outdated, and just not what those people are used to coming in. Um, People also found challenges moving to larger universities and building relationships in fragmented or siloed environments, particularly in larger universities, where you're wearing less hats and interacting with less departments. A few other challenges that people faced were personal and logistical challenges. So, like relocation stress, moving your family from town to town or state to state or region to region, setting up new living arrangements, managing personal expenses, and these kind of transitional life periods. Building social networks and navigating workplace dynamics, including difficult colleagues, was listed in a few of the survey results. Funding and resource issues was also a common theme among the challenges. So smaller private institutions, people were stating often lacked adequate funding, creating operational challenges. Compliance requirements, particularly in resource-constrained environments, were adding to that burden as well. So some of the demographically related challenges or things that people said were a little bit more tied to a demographic of a university were that like large universities typically offer diverse programs, resources, and network opportunities, but may feel a lot less personable to the employees just because of how many employees there are and like kind of siloed nature of larger organizations. Smaller universities, on the inverse, can provide more of a personal connection and like a tight-knit community feel, but they all may lack variety in programs and resources and financial backing in the way that we're able to provide support for students. So some of the tools for success that we identified fall into three major themes, and those themes are building a network of support and collaboration, asking important questions from the beginning, and reflecting on your own professional goals and objectives. So building a support network is important because it helps build professional relationships, opens new doors to new opportunities, facilitates the exchange of ideas and best practices. It also aids in career development, personal growth, and provides resources that can assist you when needed. So this is again out of that final question of like what tools, methods, connections helped you navigate these challenges. Almost every answer that we had in that question had something to do with making connections or building a strong support system. We have a few examples here where people talked about having lots of coffee dates with coworkers to get to know the cultures, partners that they need to connect with, and what their partners' needs are. People, set up meetings to see what department communication looks like, what areas of improvements are needed. But all of the responses for this question involved some sort of connection to like building connections and building support systems with other employees. Yeah, so some tips we have for this are establishing connections with colleagues early through coffee meetings or introductions, reaching out to team members and departmental contacts for supports and insight, following up with connections that you've made at orientation, attending as many work-related events and meetings as possible, and joining university committees or volunteering for things that interest you. The common trend amongst like the tips and advice in this are that you need to take initiative to like go out and build those connections. And that is what people have said is like the most effective method in like combating some of their challenges with job moving. There are also professional organizations that can help you build networks of support and connections, not just at your university, but across regions and countries and internationally. We've listed NASPA, QOI, and ACPA, but there are plenty more. There are also informal social media groups, some Facebook groups that are themed around student affairs and student life, and other groups on like Instagram and Reddit and stuff like that, where you can find support and community. Yeah, so we also highlighted a little bit like connecting with mentors. There are formal mentorship programs through Northwest ACUI and ACUO NHIT, so National Housing Training Institute. Formally or informally, we suggest connecting with previous supervisors for guidance or connecting with professionals in positions that you strive for to gain their perspective on things. There are some mentorship resources at InsideHigherEd.com. So asking important questions from the beginning, engaging in meaningful conversations where you can better understand the culture of your new work environment, double checking important information within your roles, sharing concerns that you have with this new position upon entering the new role. This can provide long and short-term clarity in your role while highlighting overall culture and work environment. And we've kind of divided this into understanding work culture questions and understanding position related questions. So work culture questions helps gain a better understanding of the values, beliefs, priorities, and practices that shape that new organization, helps you understand how the company engages and supports its employees, and provides access to how your university may deal with conflict in politics. Here are just a couple sample questions, like how would you describe organizational politics at the company, or how is conflict handled here, or what surprises people the most about working here, are some questions that you could ask. So understanding position-related questions from the beginning, you should be able to ask questions about your role, responsibilities, communication channels, contacts, performance expectations, opportunities for learning and development, and policies and procedures that might be relevant to your position. Position titles and core responsibilities can vary greatly from university to university. So balancing the process of learning the new position and understanding your new institutional culture and combating the challenges of moving to a new university type can be pretty overwhelming. So it's critical to learn about your position and what your day-to-day work life looks like. A couple of the sample questions that we have are, how can I share my new ideas? What kind of acronyms should I know about? Um, who should I make time to meet with in the first week or month? How does this organization view success in this role? What metrics are we measuring based off of? And our third piece of advice that come out of this poll was reflecting on your professional goals and objectives can not only be motivating, but it helps establish like a sense of purpose, kind of guides what skills you need to foster and develop, and enhances personal growth, well-being, and allows for self-reflection. So understanding that a move to a new university might offer a step towards those professional goals, it can help combat the fear of transitioning to a new university. So don't be afraid to set up professional goals, things you want to accomplish in the next 3 years, 10 years, or before you retire. Connect with those mentors, ask about their journeys, keep a professional journal, seek external training. Make sure that these goals are smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. A couple extra tools for success that we found just in doing some follow-up reading were take lots of notes and create cheat sheets. I mentioned acronyms. I would love to have an acronym cheat sheet when I move into a job, just because it's super helpful to be on the same page of what everyone's talking about. Set up achievable 1 week and short-term goals just to make sure that you're hitting your own benchmarks. Familiarize yourself with the layout of campus or the new place that you're working. Understand that it's okay to feel scared and to not know everything right away. Take a look at your department organizational chart if you have one available, and share any concerns you have from the beginning so your supervisors kind of know where you're at with things. All right, that is all the information that I have. Do we have any questions? It's okay if not too. Small crowd.
Hi, Dom.
Hi,
Um,
Ollie.
I just wanted to thank you for doing this presentation again. I think it's incredibly helpful for folks that are transitioning from institutions. Um, I know you talked about a lot of like tips and tricks and things that have worked, but what would you say is like the most valuable piece of advice that you could like bestow on someone who is
Yes.
transitioning institutions? Like out of all of the things that you shared, what would be
Yeah.
like one
Yeah,
piece?
so I definitely have two. First of all, I want to validate that the fear people feel when moving between jobs is very real and it is okay and everyone experiences it and it's going to be all right. The second piece of advice that I want to hammer home is, and we really like the survey results spoke for themselves that every single participant in that survey said, meet coworkers in different offices, build connections and networks of support early. I think that that's one of the most critical pieces of like kind of getting to know that new ecosystem and who key players are, and also helping them to know who you are to build that working relationship uh, early. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it.
Dominic, I know you lived this experience and you probably work with a lot of people that have also lived this experience. But as were doing your, your research with your poll and your survey this time, was there anything that came out of it that you specifically were just like more intrigued to learn more about like why people were feeling a certain way?
Mhm.
Or yeah, I don't know. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, so, and I mean, Megan, you and I had talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but I've actually retitled this presentation, or Travis and I did a little bit last minute when we originally gave this. We had originally wanted to have a super narrow focus of moving from a small university to a large university. But what I found really intriguing and kind of why we rebranded last minute was that a lot of the advice that we had in that narrow focus applied way more broadly to like just changing institutional types in general and not necessarily from that small to large focus. So that was really, really intriguing. And I would love to dig a little bit more into like kind of the cultural aspects of working between small and large universities because I did live that and I did see some echoes and reflections in the like, yeah, a small university definitely feels a lot more tight-knit. I could pick up the phone and call the dean of students and say, hey, I'm sending a student your way. Where at Oregon State University, I don't believe I could do that. I would have different channels I need to go through and more of a procedural type feel. But yeah, that's something I'd love to dig more into.
And
Dominic, is kind of with the idea of career moves as folks, right? Is
Sure.
there things or advice that you would offer for folks who are just starting to maybe dip their toe into this idea of, hey, I want to look at a different kind of environment that I'm currently in. Maybe they're not even sure whether that's going from a large or small or public or
Mhm.
private. They're just like, hey, I'm in whatever position I have been. I think I need a change of scenery.
Mhm.
Um, are there things that folks should be asking themselves when they're kind of looking toward that next career move?
Yeah, yeah. I think Headspace does a lot for people. I think that I was motivated by uh, maybe some stress factors to move or change up my career and take a lateral shift. But I think that looking into what kind of career move you're looking for, I recently heard a piece of advice that I really like of like look up position titles that you would want to have and use those job descriptions as like a checklist for your own professional development. I think is a great piece of advice. Also leverage those networks, leverage those like online communities to ask people on forums and just through conferences and stuff what their experiences with their workplaces have been like and what are some of the pros and cons of working in their institutions. Um, I really got fortunate landing at Oregon State in the way that I did I had found the notes of a previous RD at my previous job in the desk. I think she had just left them there. And I reached out on Facebook just to say hi and make a connection. And at the end of that conversation, she said, "By the way, we're hiring here at Oregon State. Do you want to come work up here? You should apply." So that was super helpful, and that's why I really, really push like take initiative to build a network of support for yourself across various universities, and in that way you can almost leverage off of other people's experiences and see how things are going for them. All right, folks. Well, I have some sources. We didn't pull those um, university classifications out of nowhere. They are in a couple different university classification type systems. We also pulled some of these tips and tricks for transitioning careers from different sources, both within the realm of higher ed and outside in the larger business world. So those are some of the sources we used. If you want a copy of our slides, we have it posted on a Google Drive right here. You can take it and go ahead and use it for yourself if you'd like. That's my contact information with my office number, I believe. Yep. And Travis, who, again, a huge shout out, was a huge help and like really did the bulk of the putting this presentation together. Has been a fantastic research partner. So.
Well, thank you, Dominic. And the QR code will be also with the recording, if that's okay. So people can grab it from there. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you to everyone for joining us. We know this is a difficult time of year sometimes to join things like this live. So thank you. Again, the recording will be up sometime soon, may not be today, but be on the lookout. Make sure if you're a NWACUHO member to also check your emails for upcoming webinars and other opportunities. We also post them on Instagram and Facebook. I don't think we currently have any August ones. August is not a great time for our industry, but well, it's a great time, but not for our webinar series. So be on the lookout for some in the fall. Dominic, anything last minute you want to contribute?
No, thank you so much all for coming. I appreciate seeing so many faces familiar and not here. Definitely check out NWACUHO. I would love to see more people at the conferences. They're a whole lot of fun. Can't wait to see you all in person in Seattle.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks everyone for being here, and we'll see you soon.